Hello dear students, welcome back to English class. My name is Elnora and I'm your English teacher. Today we're gonna be talking about press in the United Kingdom. Before getting into the topic, I want to ask you, think about this for a second. Whenever you want to hear your favorite song, watch your favorite show, or see the latest current events, where do you go? You more than likely turn on your television, radio, or computer. The source that the majority of the general public uses to get their news and information from is considered mass media. Mass media means technology that is intended to reach a mass audience. It is the primary means of communication used to reach the vast majority of the general public. The most common platforms for mass media are newspapers, magazines, radio, television, and the internet. The general public typically relies on the mass media to provide information regarding political issues, social issues, entertainment, and news in pop culture. By the way, let's learn some vocabulary. Media is the plural of medium, also known as a channel. Mass designates the type of audience, diverse in spatial, temporal, or experiential proximity. The mass media fall into three categories based on the technology by which they are produced: print media, electronic, and new age media or photographic. The primary print media are books, magazines, and newspapers. Among their distinguishing features we can name regularity, content, and timeless. Books usually have stretched or glued. Magazines stapled. Newspapers are usually unbound, but they are joined together by a fault line. Print media are usually regularly published except books, which have a single issue, and as far as timeliness is concerned, there should be admitted such fact that books generally are not timely. For magazines, timeliness is not an issue. It's not very important for them. But for newspapers, timeliness is significant. And the most important peculiarity of print media messages is that they are in tangible form. They can be picked up physically and laid down, stored for later reference, and so on. Even though newspapers may be used to wrap up the leftovers from dinner for tomorrow's garbage, there also is a permanency about the print media. The primary electronic media are television, radio, sound recordings, and the web. They flash their messages electronically. Pioneer work on electronic media began in the late 1800s, but they are mostly a 20th century development. Unlike print messages, television and radio messages disappear as soon as they are transmitted. Messages can be stored on tape and other means, but usually they reach listeners and viewers in a non-concrete form. TV is especially distinctive because it engages several senses at once with sound, sight, and movement. But a real wonder is the newest mass media, the World Wide Web. It combines text, audio, and visuals, both still and moving, in a global electronic network. The technology of movies is based on the chemistry of photography, but it should be said that movies may not be longer a chemical medium, as a lot of video production, including some primetime television, is shot on tape and stored digitally. Photography itself is also moving from chemistry to digital technology. An end may be coming for darkrooms, hypo, or fixer. And in the end, I'd like to say that it's great that there are various types of mass media, as everyone has an opportunity to choose the most suitable and accessible way of achieving information about the world. Well, there are 7 major functions of mass media. The first one is surveillance. Serves as the eyes and ears for those seeking information about our world. The second function is correlation. How the media presents facts that we use to move through the world. Sensationalization. When the media puts forward the most sensational messages to titillate consumers. Entertainment. Media outlets such as People magazine, TMZ, and blogs like Paris Hilton keep consumers up to date with their favorite celebrities. The fourth function of mass media is transmission function. It happens when mass media is a vehicle to send out cultural rules, values, norms, and habits. The next function is mobilization. With instant access to media and information, we can collectively witness the same events taking place in real time somewhere else. And the last function of mass media is validation. Mass communication functions to validate the status and norms of particular individuals, movements, organizations, or products. Well, here are the list of power of mass media. Mass media plays a key role in political power, shaping public perceptions on important issues, and it also shapes modern culture, beliefs, values, and traditions. Media is one of the most useful essence of human life. We speak of mass media, of media revolution, and of living in a media society. We are overloaded with all these letters, sounds and films, pixels, headlines, jingles. When we use the term media in this context, we speak of print and electronic media, the so-called mass media. Media affect our modern life in nearly every way. With the turn of a magazine page or an easy flip on the TV channel, there at our disposal is a huge array of potential identity replicas. In contemporary society, identity is continuously unstable. It must be selected, constructed, and created with reference to inevitable surrounding media transitions. In contemporary society, identity is continuously unstable. It must be selected, constructed, and created with reference to inevitable surrounding media transitions. There are a variety of mediums from which people can pick and access information from, such as radio, TV, internet, or even cell phones. Consequently, the media holds a very powerful capacity to set a social issue for a mass audience to assume and talk about. Often, media don't intentionally set the agenda and resolve the pros and cons of that particular matter. So it repeatedly causes terrible consequences towards public as well as establishes moral panics, which can sometimes direct to mob violence. This writing will argue that identity is a social construction managed primarily by the contemporary media and created in relation. These characteristics are more positive than negative as long as some conditions are fulfilled. First, a wide diversity of media. Second, no monopolies, and of course freedom of press. Third, fulfillment of media's main tasks: information, political education, and control. In former times, politicians made policy and the media reported on it. Today, media makes policy and the politicians put it into execution. In this manner, mass media has many needs and importance too in people's daily life. Mass media has become an integral part of our lives and cannot be separated from our life. Particularly for the urban people, the need for information is more important than ever. Our values and way of life in the society in this information era are strongly influenced by the mass media like newspapers, TV, radio, video, and the internet. Mass media's influence on people's lives is even greater and deeper than many kinds of state indoctrination of priests' sermons from the pulpit in the church. The full range of unfiltered media is now available to most of us by using a parabola and satellite transmission. We can buy many kinds of videos freely. Access to the internet is easy and cheap almost everywhere. We can find many kinds of information using the internet technology. It is worth remembering that there have been three important revolutions in recent history, that is, agrarian revolution in farming, industrial revolution in mass production, and information revolution that provides global access. Well, we are now in the midst of information revolution. Due to continuing developments in media technology, we are flooded by a huge volume of non-stop information. Most of this information comes to us without a filter or censor. The information can be positive and negative. It is important for all, and particularly for teenagers, to be able to look critically at the information and the sources and make positive choices. Having a critical attitude means that we can distinguish between positive and negative information and make choices that will give us information that will benefit us and our society. Media is the most powerful tool of communication. It helps promoting the right things on right time. It gives a real exposure to the mass audience about what is right or wrong. Even though media is linked with spreading fake news like a fire, but on the safe side, it helps a lot to inform us about the realities as well. Well guys, as you know, everything has advantages and disadvantages. The first advantage of mass media is that it educates people. Through television and radio programs, people get to learn about health matters, environmental conservation, and much more. People get the latest news in a very short time. Distance is not a barrier. People get news daily through the media, and this keeps them updated on the happenings around the world. People get to bring out their hidden talents. Through media showcase their talents such as comedy, acting, and singing. Let's keep counting the advantages of mass media. The next advantage is that mass media increases children's knowledge. Children can learn from quiz programs, animal programs, and so on. Radio is convenient as people do get short news, and with a mobile phone, one can access it. The next advantage is great in promoting mass consumer products. This can in turn increase sales of the product. And the last advantage of mass media is that it serves as a good source of entertainment. People get entertained through music and television programs. Well, television allows electronic duplication of information. This reduces the production cost, making mass education possible. Media leads to diffusion of different cultures. Media showcases different cultural practices. And the last advantage of mass media that it helps people around the world to understand each other and embrace their differences. As I have already mentioned, there are advantages and disadvantages of everything. So let's count disadvantages of mass media. The first disadvantage is that it leads to individualism. People spend too much time on the internet and watching television. As a result, socialization with friends, family, and neighbors is affected. The next disadvantage is that some media contents are not suitable for children. Limiting children's access to such content can be difficult. Newspaper is geographically selective. Increasing advertisements in television and radio is making them less attractive. The next disadvantage is that internet as a form of media opens up possibilities of imposters, fraud, and hacking. Let's keep mentioning the disadvantages. Media can be addictive. For example, some television programs and internet. This can lead to decrease in people's productivity. Health problems. Prolonged watching of television can lead to eyesight problems, and radio listening using earphones exposes one to possible hearing defects. It glamorized drugs and alcohol. Unfortunately, some programs make the use of these things appear cool. Mass media can lead to personal injury. Some people decide to follow the stunts that are showcased in the media. This can lead to injuries. It can lead to ruin or reputation. It is possible for one to create an anonymous account. Such accounts can be used for malicious reasons, such as spreading rumors. This can lead to ruin of reputation of an individual or a whole company. As our topic for today is the press in the United Kingdom, let's learn deeply about the famous newspapers in Britain. The British press consists of several different kinds of newspapers. The national papers are the ones sold all over the country with a large readership or circulation, giving general news. They are produced in the capital city, London. In recent years, the circulation of the national newspapers has gone down. Some papers had to close because they weren't making enough money, either from the sale of the paper or from the advertising in it. Some newspapers have started up in the last 20 years, for example, The Sun and the Daily Star. Well, there are two main types of national paper, the popular papers and the quality papers. The popular papers are smaller in size with lots of pictures, big headlines and short articles. They are easy to read, often contain little real information. Sometimes they give more space to opinions than to news. They usually have human interest stories about ordinary people and events, which are included because they are amusing or odd. Examples of these types are the Daily Mail, the Sun, and the Daily Mirror. Quality appeal to the more serious reader who wants to read about politics and foreign affairs. These papers, such as the Daily Telegraph, the Times, and the Guardian, are bigger in size with longer articles and a wider coverage of events. They have different pages for home news, foreign affairs, feature articles, fashion, business, sport, and so on. So this is the Sunday Times. And the famous British newspaper, The Guardian. People in Britain buy more papers on Sunday than on weekdays. The Sunday papers have a higher circulation than the dailies. As with the dailies, they are both popular and quality Sunday newspapers. The quality ones have different sections and a color magazine, usually full of advertisements. In addition to this, there are evening papers such as London's Evening Standard and Evening News. Provincial or local papers serve towns and areas outside London. Some of them are quite famous, like, well guys, you made a great job. Congratulations. See you next time.